Well, Tim, how are we? I think I've done a thing. Oh, done it then. And now, I think it should be linked. So if someone messages from Twitch or YouTube, in theory, I might have done a thing. So I just need to kind of figure out if it is going to do what I think it's going to do. So tonight, back again, like a bad smell. I meant me, Tony, not you. Got to keep on, I can't stop. So we're on first coat at the moment. That's one I've just heated up a little bit. So it's not really dry enough yet to put a... Here's a little trick I learned. Two together. So hopefully it's one set of energy. And it makes it like a little cooker. Okay. Hi, Graham. If I stand in the way of it, then it won't hit the microphone as bad, will it? Yeah, Tim, can I borrow your hairdryer? Because I think you're very similar to me and you don't actually need one. Unless it's for your beard. How is everyone? Are we all even more confused from Boris's out, but not going out? They're going out. Kind of makes a little bit more sense having listened to it a little bit this afternoon. But I think it's a bit more muddled than the stay home story. Oh my God, Tim, you're bouncing between Twitch and Facebook. Never trust a man with two phones. Oh, so I've done a part of the thing then. That's a bit annoying. Because I did look at it earlier and apparently your bot needs to be ticked. Which I did. Which now means that the Twitch people can see what the Facebook people say, but the Facebook people can't see what the Twitch say. And then I don't know about the YouTube people, but not many people really comment on YouTube. Not when it's live, anyway. Ah, you've got multi-screens. Right, okay. There's a good way of keeping the, because it's too. It's a good way of keeping the heat in. How is everyone? So all the Twitch people are now coming on. Hi Morn. So Morn's in South Africa, watching on Twitch. Superjock is our resident Scottish pirate from South. Is it South London or East London? It is London. I have to keep remembering whose nicknames on Twitch are their real names. That's Ian, isn't it? I keep forgetting who's who. And then there's 6 people watching on Facebook because everyone's buggered off now. Oh, sorry, John. I see there's another super jock. Oh, well, okay, there's super jock, and then there's another jock. I will get more credible with this. Don't worry. It might take me quite a while. It's a lot to take in. I'm trying to concentrate and be sociable and hilarious at the same time. So some of it's going to fail. As long as there's humour, I suppose. Fuck that shit. I do wonder, it's like, when hello Christopher. So when I get this HD camera, if it's worth keeping the Facebook page. Because although that's where a lot of my travel comes from, I do think people are a bit oversaturated with my Facebook. I do. I'm on there probably a bit too much, and everyone just sort of oh, it's him again. So it was up to 10 people. Now it's down to 4. Actually, one of those is me, so it's down to 3. That's rude. Yeah, it depends which one you're referring to, Tim.
Hey, check this out.
So if it's a compliment, you're saying I'm hilarious. So I'm going to see what. See, this is on at the moment. I don't even know what this does. Woo! I'm up to 25 followers on Twitch now. I just haven't a clue what I'm doing. So now I've got the chat up on the Twitch. How do I get a picture of me? That'd be a much. So that, no, I can't go live because that's there. Yeah, I'll give up. Sod it. I'll figure it out later. I'll go back and see what's on Facebook and thingies. Oh, it's down to 2, and one of them's me. Right. So tonight, I'm not sure what the if I'm going to get these actually started. Cool, well done, Christopher. What compressor did you order? So we have 2 DBX 0.7s. I have been super multitasking today. I have been world famous, soon to me infamous something designer, and homeschooling teacher masterclassy thing at the same time. So my daughter was doing her homework while I was doodling, so I was helping her while I was drawing this. And the best thing is, because they're the same shell, I just had to draw one really nicely and then drop the other shell over the top and trace it back over. So I've got 2 the same. So it's nice when it's the same design of shell. So you can see that one's still a bit too wet, whereas that one's like porridge. It's about right. And I can show you the design what it's going to look like because I have one up here somewhere. It says. I painted for Tristan for a couple of years now. So that's what we're kind of doing. It has changed a little bit since I did this one. But it's nice also to have like an old shelf as a reference, so I can what size tank's that larger Hobby Knox got? I've not actually seen the specs on it. I think I know the one you mean. Did you get that from Mr. MB? I don't know, he was trying to sell one. Hi Matt. Well, you sent me a picture, Matt, didn't you? And I couldn't actually open the link to what it was. So, I don't know. Simple answer to that one. Oh, that sounds pretty vague. Ooh, I'm back up to 8 people now. See, 3.5 litres should be alright. Hello Mark. Mr. Young, sort of MTC World Champion thingy. I am down to my last 2 packets of my Swan Morton number 11s. So I'm going to have to change allegiance from number 11 to number 10A, I think, until I can get some more stock in at work. So that'd be a bit of a culture shock. Mark beat Morn meet Mark. Morn's in South Africa, so there might be a bit of a delay. I don't even know what 26 blades too long looks like, so I would assume that's like an assault knife, isn't it? Oh, you two already have the misfortune of knowing each other. Cool. So that's now had 2 coats, that one. Mark gets everywhere. That's meant as a compliment, not as a diss. I suppose, unfortunately, Matt, that's the slight problem at the moment with the. Wow, I'm up to 16. Jeez. Sorry, I tried to act cool there because that's the highest number I've had for a while. Oh, it's down to 12. I shouldn't have spoken. Matt, I mean, it's the problem, isn't it, at the moment, the Sparmax, no one's making anything. I mean, can you imagine when the government finally gives us the green light to go racing and we're all going to go, yay, we can go outdoors, we can go racing, and they go, we haven't got any tyres. A liquid mask coat, Mark, will be well, if you're cleaning your shell properly, there's probably 10 minutes just cleaning it with a one of them dishwasher sponge sharp thingies. You know, there's got a scratchy one side and a soft the other, and then making sure it's completely dry, and then building up 2 coats. And a coat, you can leave it overnight to dry, or you can whack it with one of these bad boys, because I don't need this for day-to-day life anymore. And neither does my wife, because she doesn't know I've nicked it. And that was a while ago. You can heat it up if you're careful. If you give it too much welly, it kind of cooks it. You want because you're building up, because this gets a little bit in depth now. I shouldn't really have started off on that. It's got a 1mm tip in this one, so it's got a bigger tip. So I don't need to blast it. It comes out of this quite aggressively. So 2 coats is fine with this, but normally I would say 3 coats if someone was spraying it with a smaller tip, or if you're brushing it, that's what takes the time, because you'll be hand brushing that bad boy for about 20 minutes a coat is what I got it down to roughly. That's just brushing it on, making sure you don't miss any bits. Now, Colin on Twitch. I followed that video thingy you sent me to get my bot to enable, whatever. So I've done that, but it still hasn't allowed Facebook to see the Twitch comments. But apparently the Twitch comments can see the Facebook stuff. That's right. I suppose it makes it more interactive on Twitch because you can see what's going on. Yes, Morton. I saw the bot. Sorry, I've been busy. I've got so many different chats going on that I don't seem to answer. Ian is getting very competent now. So I need to sort of iron out these feeds a bit more. So because if I go off randomly talking to somebody else, it's because there's alongside here I've got a group chat between the Facebook and the Twitch. Not so much the YouTube. Not many people really talking on YouTube. Right, it's freshly opened today. So this cup will give me, I've just measured it, if I fill it up to almost the brim, that's 3 coats. Well, he's got the best teacher. He's got Yoda, as in Mr. Rich. And I call Rich Mr. Yoda to his face, which upsets him greatly because he doesn't know how to take a compliment, which is what it is meant as. Also, with because I got a 1mm nib in this, I have the trigger set so that it doesn't let out too much. Because obviously you could absolutely bog wash this with liquid mask. Hello, Glenn. Yeah, Morn, if I was to do it, well, I hope to do your shell, but it's a case of it will be... No, trust me, Mark, you don't want to eat this. It's rank. Yeah, if I did your... so many people talking, I can't remember what I'm saying. If I did your body shell, it would be my take on it, yes. So it wouldn't be identical to what you've already got. Oh, Nigel. Ooh, I've got 15 people watching me on Facebook. Yeah. I'm going to get all shy now. Stop it. Always make sure when you're spraying the liquid mask, especially spraying it, when you're going into the two sections, it's a pain in the arse to get it to stick to. One, in the DBX, you've got this, you've got the, before I lose my airbrush. Bollocks to that, it's not going to stay there. No, that won't move. No, Nigel, on the DBX, you've got this bonnet raised, where the wheel, where they've sunk the bonnet down. Well, obviously that panel there, that's an absolute bugger to get liquid mask to stick to. For some reason it doesn't want to stick to it. Then up the door pillars, it doesn't like to stick to there either. But the place it really doesn't like to stick is the front. You see that the colour of the post is a different colour. That means the mask hasn't got into it. And if I had stood there too long trying to get that particular part, I just get liquid mask everywhere, apart from where I want it. So either you get out a little brush and just wiggle it about a bit. Well, Colin, you shared my thingy last night and you asked people to start following me on Twitch. I jumped 6 followers, so thank you. I'm up to 25 now, and I'm up to 50 on YouTube, and I'm in the 800 something on here. Only 800. There's nothing, you know what I mean? I mean, that's roughly 100 people a year. That's how much that's gone up by. So if I keep this Twitch thing going for a little bit, I should be all right. But when I get the better webcam, then yes, the Twitch will be a lot better. Oh yeah, Morn, because you shared my page on your club track looks amazing in South Africa. That sounds like a trip in itself just to come and drive that. Looks really nice. Because you shared your page, you shared my page in South Africa. I had 3 people contact me. Oh yeah, whereabouts are you? I'm in England. Oh, okay. I haven't had any replies after that. Right, so I stick them back together a little bit and then you've got a low heat. Jesus, I'm up to 32 people now. Honestly, I have never, ever had this many people, 35, watch on Facebook. I'm used to talking to myself. I put this down to you, Morn. Thank you very much. You seem to have sort of quadrupled my followers or viewers. Oh, I should have done my hair and everything. You're right, Mark. Lockdown essential viewing of watching paint dry. So that says it all, really, doesn't it? Up to 42 now. I'll stop talking, see how high this number gets up. Normally on Facebook, I go, oh yeah, I'm up to 12, and 6 will disappear instantly. So the design tonight, which we're doing 2 of, we're doing 2 DBX shells. I just find it easier to dry them stuck together vaguely because it uses less heat, less energy. It's going to look like that bad boy. Well, a version of this bad boy. This was a last winter, I think. And I can really see my progression from last winter because that is terrible. Just like that grill, you can't even see it. And the lights are a little bit... my indicators were too big. And my lights were too... So anyway, so I can see a natural progression now of my own work, which is nice. But don't get me wrong, when I finished this, I was so proud. I thought this looked amazing. But I can look back on my older stuff and now go a bit, not cynically, I can look back at it and go like, I've improved there, I've improved there. But at the time, I was very happy. So it's not that I'm dissing my old work, but I am dissing my old work. Well, I did. What did I do for him? I did a fronty shell for him a couple of months ago. I did a birthday shell for him for the last EWS, and then he gave me at the last EWS and said, "Could I do these for the summer?" And obviously, it's summer now. And oh my God, I've never ever hit 50 people. Thank you very much. Woo-hoo-hoo. I'm normally quite proud of like 6 people watching, so to have 50, oh, it's dropped to 45 already. So essential lockdown paint drying sessions. These are shells number, oh God, 38 and 39. Or 39 and 40, I can't remember. So in the time that I've been off work, although I am technically back at work, but I'm not, I've done 40 body shells. Well, this will be 40 body shells. Oh, Mr. Banfield, please do not swear, because I'm like well popular this evening. I've got my merch on. Essential penny apron. Well, that's anticlimactic. It's dropped down to 27. But that's still like amazing. But Jesus, it's like a yo-yo. Right, so hopefully these will dry soon, so I can actually start cutting. So as you can see now, it's starting to obviously go a bit matte and translucent, so you should be able to but if it's very kind, 55, Jesus. If some of you would move over to my Twitch channel, I would mucho appreciate. I don't even know what the term is. Is it follow, or I don't know what it's. I'm not that particularly computer savvy, but I was told to open a Twitch account. So if you do go on Twitch, if you could find my page, it's still the same feed, but when I get the better webcam, then it'll be in HD on there, whereas Facebook it's only 720p. Followers, there you are. Thank you, Colin. So if you would go over to my Basil page, it's Basil_Airbrush, and give us a follow. I would appreciate. I'm getting a little bit nervous because I've never spoken to this many people at once, and I'm very pleased I put my trousers on. Just I did. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, so I've got to step back otherwise. I stood here in my PJs before now. So all I've been doing, this is a sort of quick catch up for there's 37 watching, so probably 3 or 4 of you are regulars, so I can sort of babble on a bit now to the newbies. I decided to start showing the whole process, so warts and all. So if you have a spare 4 hours and you want some entertainment, I'd go watch a film. But if you're not, I'd sit here and watch me tinker, I suppose is the term. I'll show you the whole process. So at the moment it's still drying. I've already drawn it all, so it'll look something similar to that. But it's a slight evolution because that's like a year ago now. So I will show you how I get from this to a better version of this. That's right. And I'll talk a lot. As long as I have a subject to talk about, I'll just prattle on, or you can all just talk amongst yourselves. I was thinking about doing some sort of like quiz, like motorsport quizzy stuff, but I had to do some parenting this afternoon, so I haven't had a chance to do anything. Obviously, my kids are off school. I have an 8 and 5-year-old. Yes, thank you, Morn, for trying to upset me by making me stressed. I'm just going to pretend like I'm talking to one person, so it's fine. I'm talking to you, whoever you are. So that way it makes me feel a bit easier at it. And I know that half of you have got me on mute anyway, so I could really talk about any old bollocks. Because I don't really want the hairdryer. That's impressive numbers. I should be telling all 2 of my friends about this tomorrow. It's already a sore subject indoors, because obviously I'll go in having done a live feed and they'll be like, I've been talking to someone from South Africa, I've been talking to somebody from Australia, and my wife just looks at me going like, oh, you're not talking about painting again? I was like, yes I am, because there's nothing else to really talk about. I tell you what, if you're prepared to pay the post, I'll put a t-shirt up, because I've got some Basil t-shirts, and I'll make a little quiz and then give away a t-shirt. But that's a bit anticlimactic, really. I have said if I get to, I've got to think of a number really when I get on the Twitch. If I get the Twitch up to the magical number, which I think I need I think it's 75, or I don't know, to get not the posh one but the second scale down. I might do a free body shell paint job or something, and then let whoever gets me to that magical number choose the 50. All right, 50. That's not very much. I'm at 25 already. Maybe I'll go a bit higher than that. So this is oh, it's still at 44. Jeez, I thought people would have gone by now. So this is sort of warts and all. So I'll show you how I cut the pinstripes. And if anyone's got any questions, I'm winging it mostly, but I might know the answer, or I might have screwed it up or done something similar, or someone else might know. So ask a question, and I'm sure somebody will barrel in an answer. Hello, Rodrigo. So Rodrigo is from Portugal, so I remember that one. So I've got my regulars are on. Hello, Craig. So this was, I mean, there's not many painters that will show you the whole process like this. I'm an oversharer, I think it's the technical term. And it's taken me a long time to figure out how to do this. And I don't see the point in keeping it super top secret. So if anyone else wants to learn it, just I've put a few. If you go onto my YouTube channel or my Twitch channel, all the videos are there from past. I'm sorry, they're on Facebook as well, so you'll see them on here. So you can see all my old videos. But my camera was in a different angle. The sound's probably worse, and my bald spots in most of the shots. So I've moved the camera now, so my bald spot's only in shot when I lean forward too much. But then I just move the camera a little bit, and then you don't really see it. So I show you the whole process. The cut. So it's about an hour to cut each shell out with the craft knife. The other night, I spent the night just cutting and talking, and then last night I painted and talked. So I was talking a lot. I mean, like a lot, because I've now got this thing on this thing here, which is Restream. It gives me all the something, basically the stats, and it's telling me how long I've been live streaming for. And I only started live streaming on this Restream thingy a week ago, and I think I'm nearly 24 hours in for streaming, which is a little bit worrying. But obviously, where there's no data, I'm in the UK, by the way, if anyone doesn't know me. We're on kind of a lockdown here, so I'm kind of treating this as a part-time job, really. My normal day job, I sell art materials in a family-run art shop. So by day I sell paint, and by night I watch it dry. I sound like a really shit superhero, just not super or hero. I shall mark it on the calendar that I hit 55 people in one sitting live on Facebook. Because normally what happens is it comes live, everyone goes, oh, he's on again, and then they watch for maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then they turn off. So I have at its peak, it's like 12 people, and then it drops down to like 6. So this is quite impressive numbers. Still 36. I'm sure that number will get lower as I talk more. Unfortunately, there is a lot of me talking because I get nervous. You mean the squares as in those? Well, what happens is, because I'm painting the shell, I can't show you on that one, the customer needs to mount it. So I leave those squares and leave the mask on it. So when the customer gets the shell, he can peel the mask away and he can clearly see where his nuts are. Sorry, on the car. Not his, yeah, his nuts, you know what I mean. So he can then mount his shell properly. Otherwise, if it's got paint all over it, he can't see where his wheel, where the body shell is lining up when you go to cut it out. So you mount it right. So that's purely for mounting, and also that becomes a rear winglet that goes on the outside to stiffen the wing. If that makes sense. But painting, I don't know if anyone's aware, but painting RC shells is completely backwards compared to traditional painting, because you do darkest shade through to lightest shade. So in a second, you're going to have the fun of watching me cut I won't say how long it is, because otherwise you'll all turn off now. So I've got to go around and cut every line. It is that fun. And then peel and paint, and literally you peel out the bits you want to be black, like this is going to be checkered here and checkered on the roof, so I'll cut all the bits out and pick the bits that I want to be black, and then work through from black through to lighter shade, which is white. So white's the last colour, because if you put white on and then do black, it turns the white a sort of dirty, and you hold it up to the light and it doesn't give a very, it's not very nice. So it's all about sort of, you can use the brighter colours and then back it with white, but it doesn't really give it the depth if you then start using darker colours behind it, because it takes the brightness away, if that's the right word. It's not the right word, it's just the ones I come up with. You know what? I nearly didn't come on the feed tonight. I thought, oh, well, I've been on the last 2 nights and people are going to be bored brainless of me talking away. And I'm quite pleased I did now. I mean, probably you lot aren't, but I am. Oh, and your second question, Tom, of why 2 shells, is because that's what the customer has asked for. So, if from opening the bag, drawing the design, cleaning the shell, masking it, cutting it and painting it, you're probably looking at a combined time of about 6 hours just to do one. So, but then to add another one on, it doesn't make it like double the time. It only adds an extra quarter again. So you could look at another extra 2 hours and then you end up with 2 shells. So it's actually quicker to paint 2 than to paint. If I did one each night, then it'd take me a lot longer. If that completely makes sense. Because most of the time it's like it's keeping the changing the paint and the colours, and it's just a bit laborious. But you got to do it right, otherwise you ruin it. Hello, Glenn. No, all I do, I draw, I measure, because that's a constant line there. So you got so that in theory that is centre. So all I do is I divide that and then make a line, and I draw a line up and then match it back from, there's a winglet in the middle of there, and then I just draw over and end up with 2 sides. Then I draw one side of the shell, like completely draw the whole thing. And then what I do is I just eyeball it. So I will sit there and I've got a set of gauges so I've got my centre line, and then I'll measure the gap there and do a dot and then just draw it round and make it look right. So they might ever so slightly be off, but you're not talking a great deal. And then the beauty with these ones is the roof is all checkered, so that's freehand anyway. Whereas you've got one here that here's one. I'll do a Blue Peter. You know what Blue Peter is for the UK. So there's a. I made a bit of a boo-boo on the roof, but we won't talk about that. But I've just got to the point where I've drawn so many of these now. I can kind of. I also draw to points. So on the molds, they kind of give you these really nice bore lines, and like where the brake light finishes and stuff. So I draw to points. So like this arrow here, I finished at that door point, and then this arrow here, I finished 8 mil past that door. So I can kind of draw to the contours, and then it's just a case of just repeating it on the other side. And I kind of do it. I do it by eye. So in theory, and then once you've drawn one shell completely, you drop the other shell over the top and then mirror it because they come see-through. So in theory, this is a carbon copy of that one because I've dropped it over the top when they were clear and copied the design over. But you can, I do know people that they've got books of tracing paper, and if you've got an A4 sheet of paper, tracing paper, fold it in half, draw your design. No, hang on, wait a minute. Draw a centre line down a sheet of tracing paper, draw half, fold the other half over, and then draw it again, fold it open, and you've got both bits. And then you do that for the bonnet section, and you have one for the roof and one for the doors. And you just do it in templates. So once you've drawn a template, you then just line it up to the wheel wells. So make sure you draw your wheel wells in. So make a bit of tracing, a bit of paper that's the same width from the bottom of the shell to the top of the arches, and have it along. Mark where the window goes, and then stick it on one side. And then because it's tracing, you can then put it on the other side and then draw it on the outside, and you've got a mirror. So it is a little bit obviously it is very time consuming. This is not a quick thing to do. As I said, I think this is either 38 and 39 or 39 and 40 of my lockdown, and that means I'm on to shell. I keep a calendar, a diary, and I write. Why is Facebook doing that? Oh, I thought that was going to freeze on me then. I keep a diary, and I keep a note of which dates are painted on and how many I've done, and I'm just past the 100 mark for the year. Last year I managed 227 for the whole year, and we're at beginning of sort of May, and I'm halfway there already, and it's massively slowed down for the last 7 weeks. I could have done a ton more. I could probably, I'm not going to say comfortably, because I like to go racing as well and see my kids and go to work and see my wife. I could probably do 5 shells a week with normal day-to-day life going on. Yeah, especially when I'm into the hundreds now. Some designs are easier than others, but yeah, I don't know why, but I kind of enjoy doing this, and I don't really know why. I think it's an evolution thing. I sort of see what I've done in the past and go, I want to do better than that. Although at the time, I was really pleased with it. But it's always nice to set a marker and go like, I'm going to do better than that, and then just try and do it. And then I think I've learned enough now to. So when I was learning to do this, I really, really enjoyed doing this. And nobody would answer any questions. You're like, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? So a lot of it I learned myself, or I've learned through my own mistakes. So I'm now at the point where I promised I would give other people advice. You don't have to listen, but if you want to listen, I'll tell you, or try and answer your questions. But at the end of the day, I like watching paint dry. And a lot of this is the way I've learned to do it, and or things I've picked up along the lines. So I would say not everything I do is probably the correct way of doing it, but it's the way that I do it. It's like handwriting, isn't it? Everyone's is slightly different, and mine might be a bit more cack-handed, but I'll get there. Right, so that's 2 coats of mask now, and it's thankfully that's touch dry. That was a bit of a guess. No, I'm joking. I knew it lost its gloss. So it's really, really tacky, which means it'll be fairly easy to cut. So next little job is to get my chair back, because I always stand when I do my liquid mask. Oh. Right, so first job, there we are, is get rid of the old blade. I change the blade every shell. So this is my stash out here. I've got more inside. Oh, have you looked into it? How much will it cost to send to South Africa? Is it? Because I've got to send some to New Zealand, so this would be quite a good test to see what I had to send. I was very fortunate to. I was given an X-ray T420 by one of the UK top drivers, and so my automatics was made redundant overnight. There's nothing wrong with my automatics. I'm not smart enough or stubborn enough to sit there and tinker with it. I want to go around talking to everyone in the pits. And I put my automatics up for sale, and somebody from Hong Kong bought it. And to send it to Hong Kong, it got there within 4 days, just as the pandemic started to kick in. Took 4 days, and it was 60 quid, which I thought was really good. Bear in mind it was just over a kilo, and it had 3 body shells in there too. All right, I'm just for a second going to look at what I did here, because I want to see what I do as pinstripe and what's so right. So that one isn't actually pinstripe. Right, I'm sure I'll alter this, but it's just nice to have a bit of a refresh before I start cutting. So I always have my pinky on the body shell. I can't believe there's still 40 of you watching. That's nuts. So brand new blade, and then it's just a case of just slowly working your way round. And I always put my finger on the outside of the shell, so it evens the pressure out a bit, so you don't go too deep. Obviously, there's nothing worse than ruining a brand new body with its first crash and the window pops out. What I've been doing, my latest thing to do is I do a secondary pinstripe. So I'll do a window frame inside a window frame. And if you see, I don't really move my wrist too much. I move the shell. No, I'm sorry, this is as exciting as it gets now for a little while. I'm not going to say how long because you'll all go away. Well, Graham, it's nice to meet you. If you look on my YouTube or my Twitch channel later, you'll see this video. Yeah, you'll see it. It'll be probably 4 or 5 hours worth. I've just finished this bit of cutting and I'll show you the pen I use, Aaron. If I forget where I am, it's... See, I would like to watch one of the pro painters do this because I want to see what they do. Because I'm a hobby painter. I mean, I like to do this for as a job. I mean, I'd like to see how they work their process out. I mean, do they mask overnight, or do they? There must be a way of turning this round, so you have to spend so much effort. Right. So I use a Pilot twin marker pen. So it has a thick tip and a thin tip. And I use the thin tip for the lights and grills, so you can see where I've got to go. And then everywhere else I use the thick tip. And even sometimes I double up on it, so I'll make the line thicker. And then all I'll do is I'll cut either side of the permanent marker line to give me a bigger pinstripe. So there's no magical way of doing it. It's just a case of just each will take 2 cuts, and you just cut in the outer and the inner. So that's that window done. I try and have a little routine so I remember where I am if I get distracted by something shiny. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend trying to cut calmly with 38 people watching. But I'm really good at one colour. I can do some really good highlights in one colour. It looks very good. I used to do a very good iced white with ice white highlights. Actually, I'm more nervous of when I get the HD camera, because you'll be able to see in much closer detail what I've done wrong. Oh, cool. So he's one of your friends, is he? That's cool. So that's not all of it done. So what I'll do is the main window will be black, and then I'm going to do a luminous yellow pinstripe around the frame on the inner edge. If I can hold my nerve. So to show, and then I would suggest everyone buying is a good pair of tweezers, because obviously there's a lot of. Well, of course, anyone that beats you is always better, unless they had a really good run. So this is liquid mask that's been on for half an hour. Oh, that nearly came in. That just peeled. I got a bit cocky. Thankfully, where it's so fresh, it's still tacky. It's like my sense of humour. There we are. So that's what we just sprayed. Obviously, if you hit it with too much heat, trust me, it melts, or it bubbles up, and it doesn't do it any favours at all. Because you still want it to be a little bit flexible. I find these are all my findings. I don't know if these are the professional, because I am just kind of winging it, and I am worried that I'm going to say something and everyone's going to jump on me and go, no, you're doing it wrong. So this is my versions. I don't understand why proper people haven't done this. Proper painters haven't sort of done some good sort of videos for people to watch, because there is a demand for this. I mean, if I can get this amount of people watching me, I mean, what would a good painter get? Because I'm trying to multitask here. I'm trying to obviously cut the shell, try not to swear, and be hilarious at the same time. Right, so I now have hello Nathan, all right? There's another friend of mine who likes watching paint dry because he's into Formula 1 like me. But he's into retro Formula 1. He's none of this cool modern stuff. He doesn't like that. I have a question from Twitch. So, hi Basil, love your work. What advice would you give to someone wanting to start? Equipment, practice, techniques, etc. I would mostly say it's practice. The first couple, you're going to be, how do I put this, incredibly deflated and frustrated, because you think you're going to go, oh, I'm going to do this, and it's going to look like this, and it doesn't, not to start with. Morn, the shells are a UK retail, so it's UK pounds, so that's whatever shell you choose, and then my paint charge is 35 UK pounds, and then we've got to figure out how to get it to you. So to put it into perspective, I charge 35 quid. The liquid mask I opened tonight, that was 25. That's 7 quid. That's the world's most expensive chrome, and that's £44 a bottle. So I don't really paint for profit, if that makes sense. I kind of paint to cover my materials. I'm probably every other painter's nightmare, because I will tell you everything that I've figured out, and I'm not sponsored, so I say if I like something, I like it. If I don't like it, I don't use it. I don't have to use anything I don't like. But then again, if someone wants to sponsor me, I am very easily bought. They're generally in Haribo's. But it has to be Haribo jelly men, not jelly babies. Very important. So there is a deal to be done, then it's generally Haribo's. Like the UK importer for liquid mask, when I buy my bottles, he puts Haribo in the packet in the parcel for me. UK body. If you were to buy a DBX body shell in the UK, you're looking around £26 retail. So, and my paint's 35, so it's roughly a tenner more than buying the shell. But we have a thing called living wage here in the UK, and that's set at something daft like £9 an hour or £8. So I don't know the exact number. And so if I was to paint to that, no one would ever get any body shells done. Because obviously I paint in the evenings at home after my kids have gone to bed. So it's not a job. Every so often I save enough money to buy a set of race tyres after buying all my materials for paint and stuff. I use my pinky as a pivot, so I can get slightly nicer curves. Because it's learning how to do a nice cut as well. It's being smooth with your curves. And obviously this stuff isn't very thick, so a new blade, you can do it just wanders through nice. Hello, Ian. Ian, have you seen the numbers my page has got at the moment for viewers on the live feed? It's up to 55. So Ian's a regular viewer, stroke friend actually. I just realised the camera. I'm not in the camera shot, am I, for what I'm doing? So is that? I don't know if that's a lot. What rands? So I'm assuming that. I don't know. What? So I'm just going to change the music I'm listening to, so I don't get in trouble with the copyright. Because for some reason Facebook take great. £88 a shell. Cool, blimey, you wouldn't want to hit that against the barrier. Literally, anyone that banged into your show would be like, do you know how much this costs? Stop it. Right, so I'm now putting some Fat Boy Slim on the radio. So if they're swearing, I apologise. I've not listened to this one before.
But it's hope that gets us out of our beds and into the day. We suffer through internal.
So, and also the bonus of having a light source above me, and then a slightly darker source below, means in theory I can see my cut lines clearer. And also when the shells, when the mask is as fresh as this, the lines kind of show up a bit anyway.
Someday we will breathe again with cold breaths, press lips to lips and chest to chest. And the words "I love you" will mean so much more than before because it comes with the second chance. So here we are, under the same.
So I actually put a fresh set of gloves on tonight because I've been trying to recycle my gloves because, you know, there's a glove shortage.
New love and new hopes and new dreams.
I don't really want any excuse to have to go stand in a shop and go buy some.
In order to reconnect and redefine who we are and who we're willing to be. No despair in the world is stronger than the desire to live. So I say to you today, dream and dream big. Do not give up. Do not walk silent into the distant night. Follow the voices of hope and breathe, breathe, breathe. Deeper than you've ever breathed before.
This is rather deep music. I was expecting a load of swearing.
And know that once we emerge from this temporary slumber, waiting for you will be the trees that give earth its life. Waiting for you will be the flowers eager to show off its hue of the season. And all that was before shall be once again. If you believe. If you believe.
So, Morton, you watched me all last night, didn't you? And I didn't finish till, what, 1? Which must have been 2 o'clock for you. Because you're an hour ahead, aren't you? My dad, I spoke to my dad, I saw my dad at work this morning, and he was quite impressed at how far people are actually messaging me from. Because it was you yesterday and someone from Brazil, and then Portugal. So, it's kind of cool. This is very cool. So I don't try and do one continuous cut. I do loads of little curves. I use I got so many questions. I use a new blade each shell. So each paint job, I'll put a new blade in, because after a while you'll start to feel it get a bit growly, and it won't be cutting the mask. It'll be sort of tearing it, and you can really feel it. And also you can feel when you're going over another cut you've made, you can kind of feel the dunk as it goes over a line. I feel like I'm under a bit of pressure now, so I'm trying to. And this pinstripe here is gold. Gold. I don't know if that line shows up. Let's just put it. No, it won't. Till I get my better camera, you won't be able to see what that means. You can't see my cuts. I was going to say how good that one looked. I got a nice curve on that one. Right, I am terrible with pronunciation of names. So, is it Michael or Mikkel? So I'm not even going to bother trying to do your surname. So, hello. There's the one there at the moment. That's said hello. Mikkel Fernandez. Fernandez? I'm not going to try to do the middle name. Where are you from, sir? Morning. If you look at, if you got a second, I want to see my local track or my club track. I race at somewhere called Eastbourne. There's a little club track there, and I was looking at your video of your track, and I was like, it's kind of, it's nothing. So it kind of resembles a little bit, very very minutely. I looked at yours, I was like, wow, I really like that.
I'm glad we all came out tonight. I just couldn't wait to share this experience with you, you know? Music is so important.
So I've always got a finger or two planted on the shell, so I don't push too hard with the needle, with the blade.
Be here tonight and listen to the music, you know? Sometimes we get away from, you know, the groove, the sounds, the records, because we get consumed by TV.
So it's loads of little arcs I do. I don't really do much continuous cutting, and then it's just a case of just joining up the two bits in a nice point.
If you're hearing this record, then you're definitely in the right spot.
And then be super careful coming from a wheel arch, because 9 times out of 10 that's where it splits. Still got 33 watching. Wicked. I'm trying to sound like all semi-professional and stuff, but I'm not. I just like painting, and I can talk. If there's any topics anyone wants to give me something to talk about? I did speak about way too much stuff last night.
Areas that play this groove like this, you know. You know that this is not that stuff that's on the other side, and you're happy with this beat right here, because this beat right here is really taking you to a spot where you feel good in your soul, you know. It's a really beautiful thing, you know. This music, you know, it's not really about any of the stuff that's going on in the club, none of the politics or nothing. It's more about yourself and what you partake of this groove right here, you know.
I feel like I should rush this a little bit to try and get through to the paint, but I'm not going to rush. So I apologise. I'll be painting when I paint. I did kind of think that I wouldn't paint till tomorrow, but with this amount of people, I feel like I owe you now a bit of spray paint. So I always go back over what I've just cut to make sure I've got all my cut lines right, because at the moment it's super easy to miss something, and also it's super easy to repair it if I have screwed it up.
Because tonight I think all of us are here to...
I'm going to put some music on that I know is not going to get me into trouble.
Tonight we're going to ignore...
Come out of that. Now I'm going to put on... Well, that's too sweary. That's going to get me into trouble. I'll put that on. Oh, that's halfway through. Oh, it won't be a second, don't worry, sorry. I'm just making an arse of myself. Because I watch YouTube through my TV, so... Oh, wicked, that's good. What I do, because I've got my TV out here, I actually keep my controller wrapped up in a plastic bag. So in theory, my wife won't go mental when I take it back indoors. I could do, because sorry, there's a question from Twitch now. Yeah, Colin, yeah, I could, because I did the other day, didn't I? I cut 3 out at once, and that was probably a little bit too much. Hello, Lucas. It's a Facebook question. That's kind of cool. It's a different typeface. Airbrush is nozzle size. So my thick with nozzles, I use the standard ones. So my Sparmax is a 3.3, and I believe the Iwata is a 3.2. It's just a little bit bigger, and they both, if they're both connected to the same hose, if I swap between colours, because they're 2 different brands, because I can't afford 2 Iwatas. The Sparmax needs a bit more PSI to give it the same punch. So if I'm using the Sparmax and I'm sort of just tinkering away, and I use the Iwata, it will blow it halfway across the room. So PSI is something you need to learn between your actual gun. It might vary massively. And it is a little bit of... the regulator on my compressor, which is down here, is actually busted, so I don't know. I can't tell you what PSI it's at. I know what I do is I spray into my hand, and that's how I know what PSI to use. I did go and buy a little airbrush with a 0.2 nib, but using these paints, it just was a headache. I obviously, when I do detail, I'm always using the Createx. They do a brand called Detail. So 0051. I know that code off by heart now. Always telling people to use this. That's the best black. Now, Eric on Facebook, I know you do all your cuts first. That way, then, when you start spraying colours, you won't be able to see through the shell and see where your cut lines are. So I'm kind of ruining the illusion here and giving away everyone's little secrets, or my secrets. But I said, if you can pick up a brush and paint better than me, and after watching me for like 1 or 2 streams, then you're a better handy painter than me, because I've been doing this for 7 years. 8 years now, and I'm still learning each time. Only for the black. So I use the Wicked. It's Createx, isn't it, really? So it's Wicked Detail Black. Everything else is mostly hobby knots, because that's what I can get locally from one of my distributors. So I'm now doing what I call the bonnet crown. It's just a case of just trying to be smooth with the curves and not trying to do the whole thing. You can try running around the whole shell in one go, but you're just going to end up with a dislocated wrist, or a really, like, you'll have the pressure will be wrong in different points. So I kind of moved the shell more than I moved my wrist. And it's just trying to keep a uniform pinstripe. Which, to be fair, no one really complains about it, but they're not really. They're constant enough. But if the eye is fooled because it sees the colour of the pinstripe, it doesn't really look at the thickness of the pinstripe. So as long as you've got the accent colour there, as in this case it's chrome, so as long as it's got the chrome there, your eye doesn't really get tricked as to what width it is. I do have a couple of auto air larger, like colours. I don't have much luck with the luminous yellow though. For some reason it always peels away. So I've got one customer that always has a white front end, a white splitter, and for some a luminous yellow splitter, sorry. And for some reason it I don't matter what I do, it always sends me a picture of it flaked off. It's driving me. No, it's made me bald. Look, I had a full head of hair a month ago. I didn't say which month. And when you're doing this cutting out, if you do it with a light source behind you or above you, you can kind of see your cut lines a bit clearer. See, Ian, that's the talk from another painter. That's you sort of learning the lingo. That's what the customers should hear. I think as long as you've got the points finishing on the same reference on each side, so that everything looks correct. You can hide the should we say the uniqueness of certain bits. I'm trying to be very diplomatic there and not make myself out to be some sort of slapdash. Obviously, I've made mistakes. I did buy some 4020, but I'm sure that's the wrong one. I've got my numbers muddled up. Hey, I've hit 100 stream. Congratulations, you've received 100 messages today on Restream. That normally takes like 2 hours, and that's done in however long I've been online so far. Wow. I will have to get some of this. Is it actually a reducer, or is it a? So it's a Createx reducer. How does it make it stick better? So I'm asking some stupid questions. I'm quite capable of asking stupid questions as well. we're sitting at a now steady 27 Morn, so it's come down a little bit, but I would have expected a lot more people to have disappeared than have done. It's when they've realised how long I'm going to be taking and how much bollocks I'm talking. Am I coming through clearly enough as well? Because 4:30 isn't a reducer. Sorry, I've got Colin now because I've got 2 streams going on. Sorry, 3 streams. That's one of the Twitch. That's Colin from Twitch, who's been helping me with Twitch a lot. He said to me that 4:30 isn't a reducer. No, I know it. Well, he says it. Oh, this is 4:20. So this is an automotive reducer. That's what I bought when I bought the because I bought these at great expense. These candy colours, and it says to use 40-20, 50-50. And this is orange, and it's come out like a coppery colour. Oh, I'll have to, Marshall. I'll have to have a look for that. So if it would help, if it helps bite better, then I'm all for keeping the paint on the shell. Wake up in cold sweats. When someone goes, "Oh, the paint hasn't stuck," I'm like, "What?" And then you wonder, you try and do a mental arithmetic of how many people you've painted for with that bottle, which is generally quite a lot. So add 10% of it, right? 40-20 is a bleed checker for Candy. All right. I got some lessons to look at. Then I got some homework to try and figure this out. I'm a little bit dyslexic, so I kind of would rather watch videos than actually read about it too much, because it seems to go in one ear and out the other. I think that's why I like watching paint dry. Right, well, my nerves have calmed down a little bit, so my cutting's got a bit better. I'm trying to go as quickly as I'm comfortable with going. I didn't realise quite well. I never expected to get these sort of numbers, so maybe in future, I think Colin's right, and I should sort of cut one before I come on. But I wanted to show people the process, because it's not all glamour and shiny. It is a lot of sitting there with a craft knife and a pair of tweezers and with a radio on. And I like the live stream as well, because it gives me someone to talk at. I like the fact everyone's sort of talking now. This is see, now Graham's just popped up on the Facebook side. Now Graham is a top fan, and is also the mastermind behind K Paint. So it's the best painter in Ireland, and he knows his stuff. So any questions, I'm sure Graham will ignore you. Answer. So Graham, you should do one of these live feeds, because you've got way more followers than I have. It'd be interesting to see what numbers you hit. Some of your sort of Irish humour as well. I'm always sending Graham lots of Father Ted gifts, because that's mildly racist, isn't it? It would be pretty cool if you were to do that, because is the compressor you've been using up to now. Then has that been a bit of a bone rattler then? So you've gone all splashing the cash recently as a brand new iWater, and now you've gone and bought yourself a new compressor. I mean, I'm slightly envious. So it's Father Ted gags. So I've been friends with Graham for how long have we been friends now? A good couple of years, and I think I've pissed you off a couple of times. Nothing too okay. Maybe we're major once, but we've been. Bear in mind, we're supposed to be in everyone else's eyes. We're supposed to be like mortal enemies. I think we've been. I've done pretty good not to piss you off too much, to be fair. I nicked a customer by accident. I say borrowed. You're probably going to get him back eventually. Then we each warn each other when we get a bit of a nightmare customer, or someone so and so's contacted me. I bet they're going to contact you, and then I have to pretend they have as well and go, yeah, they did, but I said no. Because Graham's been painting a lot longer than me. I'm just better looking and more hilarious, so I get the sympathy. And actually, for your J's, Graham's actually a really quick. He can really pedal a car around a track. That's rather annoying as well. So he's a better painter and he's a better driver. So my banter makes up for that. Frenemies. That's a really good phrase. I like that. I like that a lot because I don't think people aren't aware that we actually talk to each other a lot. I mean, we've got a little group going on, and we talk. Well, I talk at him mostly, and we're always warning each other and stuff. And yeah, frenemies. That's a good one. Right, we're nearly there with this one. So you can tell it's an important bit because I've stopped talking. Oh, the sky has frozen. There would be a time when the sky would freeze and then the internet would just go pop. So if you do disappear, I do apologise. It would be the Tonight It Goes, having been wicked for ages. Right, so lights and grills, and then this one's done. So I try and do the same cut. Bloody skybox is gone again. So hopefully when I get the better camera, all this crazy knife skills will be a lot clearer. There's still 27 people watching. Right, so that's the front done. Obviously you need to be very careful when you're doing all the... Yeah, the music keeps cutting out. You be very careful when you're doing the front grille and lights, because if you're too heavy-handed with your craft knife, that's where all the abuse is on the shell. Blimey, there's a cat jumped on my roof then. That just scared the what's-its out of me. Because I'm in my world shed quarters in the back garden. And the cats use my shed as a landing ramp when they jump off next door's wall. It sounds like a small horse has just landed on the roof. No, I don't use WhatsApp. There's Facebook, there's Messenger, there's normal text message, there's phone, there's Twitter I use occasionally, there's Twitch, there's YouTube. WhatsApp's just one too many. Hello, Nick. I was going to do a Union Jack on this somewhere. What do you think? So Nick is from a little island somewhere, and I like to wind him up because they have a Union Jack in their flag. So, right, so that's all ready to go now. So that is now ready for... Oh, I could do the... I didn't do the front grille. Hex for the checkered. It's just treating it... see, I think the craft knife part of the job is the most important part. And I think this is the bit that people sort of rush because they want to get to the money shot, which is the paint. But the paint's the last bit and the quickest bit. if you've cut a bad body shell, it doesn't matter how good a painter you are, it's still going to look shocking. But if you can cut properly, you'll have a much better chance of being able to paint it. So I've got wavy roof checkered, and then we're going to have wavy roof checkered on the bonnet as well, but the bonnet, the crown bit is much smaller, so it's a lot more intricate. So I'm going to get the tweezers. So sharp tweezers is what you want. You want the kind that get stuck in your knee when you drop them by accident. So ones that would literally, draw blood by it. Yeah, I've stabbed myself numerous times. I dropped them the other day, and they were like doing this, just twanging in my kneecap, which was very unpleasant. And I didn't cry though. I did man up a little bit. Ah, bloody sky. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to turn it on and off again, because that's going to annoy the out of me. If I leave the radio on, which would be a lot clearer, I'll get in trouble with Facebook for music. And then, but what I do, so I play dance sets through YouTube, which hopefully are a little bit more random, and they can't spot them as clearly, especially if it's been like mixed and so it won't get me into trouble as much. Let's go down to liked videos if it's anyone I actually liked. So I don't know if you can hear my aircon on in the background, which is nice. That was very kindly donated to me at the beginning of the winter. So there are some nice people out there. Mate flying around with his drone. Oh, that should now play. Hey, excellent. Right, so that's now starting. Yeah, it's that initial stage where you find the craft, you look at the craft knife and it's in your foot, and you're like, "Ooh, that really shouldn't," and then it starts to hurt, and then you cry. Right, so sharp craft knife, pick a point and start. So I'm going to take that one, and then it's a case of just doing a check pattern. I hadn't used a knife on that one.
Stay with us for the next 9 or 10 hours, and it's going to be a great experience, so enjoy.
So it's just a case of just going round methodically with a craft, the tweezers, and just picking out the sections. It's I think it gives a very cool effect. It's one of my favourite things is a checkered flag.
This is the way we dance, dance, dance.
Should that be different? It's too late now.
This is the way we groove, we feel the funk, the soul, in the mind, in the baptisms. We love to feel the dance. Now dance, baby. Nobody knows my mission is music. Only you can feel where I'm coming from, where I'm coming from. Feel the music, feel your body. Now dance, baby. Dance, baby. This is the way we all feel our music. This is the way we go to get down, get down, get down, get down. It doesn't matter who you are.
Right, slight pick out issue there, as in I picked out the wrong bit because I was trying to be quick. So, bit of tape.
It's all about the way you dance, to this vibe, to my vibe, your vibe, our vibe. It doesn't matter, just dance, 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 dance. Now dance, baby.
It threw me because I'd done an extra thin line but then stopped it there and hadn't carried it through. So when I've done that square and then done that one, I kind of screwed it up. So in my head I've got that right now. So it'll look right when it's all right, Ashley. So Ashley's one of my pit buddies when I go racing. He claimed like he doesn't know me, but he rings me all the time. There's nothing worse than picking out the wrong one and going, ah, oh, damn it. It's a bit like racing where you miss the apex, or in my case, the corner. Or the track. So right, that shell now is ready for black. So you can kind of see what it's going to. So this older one that's the same style. This doesn't have the check pattern in the front crown section, and I've changed the way that the hex on the roof. And it looked a bit too. That's how the last painter had done it with these light. I didn't think these looked as nice. So this is it's all personal taste. I made that look more like it's waving, and then that's a little bit more freehand. That's the right. I was trying to think of a diplomatic way there, saying I'm winging it. Just noticed I've got to take that bit there off that one. What I've learned is if it looks odd, sort it out. If your eye is drawn to it, sort it out. It probably won't even be seen by other people, but if it's the... I say if it's like... you know, when you're painting a fence or a wall or something, and then when you step back and the first thing you look at is an imperfection, that's the first thing you should go sort out, because you don't look at the actual job you've done, you just look at the bit you screwed up. And so when I look at a body show, I'm like, oh, that point there is not like that point, or this point's not like. And so I'm slowly over the time starting to eradicate those things that drag my eye, because I can't look at a body and go, yeah, I like that, I did well with that one. I always go, oh, I wish I'd done that bit different and that bit. And so it's a personal thing of sort of learning one's. I was going to finish the sentence then, but I forgot what I was going to say. It's the pressure of all these people watching. So that's my Eclipse, and that's my Sparmax. And I always say it, and I always do the opposite, which is I really should clean my brushes out between paint nights, because I normally paint nearly at the moment every night nearly. So I've managed to get to 40 shells in lockdown. I don't know if you're still there, Graham. I don't know how many you've managed. Are you up to 10? I know your quality's a lot. And you've got a young child at the moment, so I can totally understand why. So that's just simple airbrush cleaner. I watched a video on how to make airbrush cleaner. And so I'm going to start making. I've ordered all the bits to make my own. Because I have the opportunity of, like, I have my own art shop. I'm going to start making my own paint reducer cleaner to sell at work. And I put it up on my page a couple of weeks ago saying, well, what should I call it? And some absolute genius decided that it should be called Basil Brush Flush, which I thought was remarkable. I thought that was really made me laugh. So what do I do with this looks absolutely dodgy, but it's not. It's this reducer that I'd used when I was at work the other week, and I was cleaning a gun out. I poured a whole bottle out into a basin thing, cleaned the brush, and then distilled this back through about 5 or 6 different layers of tissue to try and get all the lumps and bumps out. And so it's just stained black now. So in theory, it's still really good as a cleaner, but as a reducer, it will be obviously it's tainted. So it's just me being a tight arse, and rather than sticking it down the sink, I've kept it. So I should start use that now. So all I do is I put my finger over the end and try and knock all the imperfections back into all bits of old paint. Last night I must have got a really big lump of paint in there I was using an old blue, and it took a while to get to break this little bump down. I do have thinners, but the little Sparmax I use isn't very good with thinner. It kind of melts all the gaskets and stuff, whereas the Iwata is a bit more handy. I like the firm trigger on this. Obviously the Iwata is pretty legendary. You can't really go they can't get better than an Iwata. And then in a perfect world, I'd have 2 Iwatas. But these Iwatas in the UK are like 160 quid each, and these are 55. So from a financial point of view, I've got one posh brush and one not so posh brush. But to be honest, I'd buy another one of these before I bought another one of these. But I can't afford to buy another one of these, so I'm going to be using these. And these, if you look them up, they're I don't know if you get them out in South Africa. They're see, I will recommend it. I'm not definitely going to have any say of where you buy it. It's a Sparmax Max 3 is what I'm using at the moment, which is a 0.3 nib. Hello Carl, how are we? Morgan? It's a good brush to consider. I would say it's a good all-rounder, especially if you're coming into paintbrushing. I would say 55 quid is a good point, good cash point, rather than going straight away up to the £160 one, which is, you don't know if you like it or not to start with. Any more yellow paint falling off that car yet when you were cutting it out? See, I can't. I was talking to everyone on here, and they give me some ideas on how to try and make the yellow stick better. Just put some reducer into the paint, so I should try that next time. He was sending me pictures of like, this bit's fallen off, this bit's fallen off as well, this bit's fallen off, and I'm like, fucking hell, can any more bits fall off it? Yes, they can. And then when you can't win. Well, I can't win, especially on a racetrack. But I don't know if you can hear that, but the PSI coming out of an Iwata is much higher, I think, than the Sparmax. The Sparmax is a lot, because it must be a smaller tip, so the PSI. Oh, I just answered my own question. So the Iwata has got a slightly larger needle. So if you can hear this, or watch my hand. Right, so that's got a bigger needle. You're only talking a tiny amount. If you watch how from where it's depressing on my hand. And then, so the Iwata has got a bigger needle. The PSI is a lot. I've just answered my own question, because the PSIs, the needles are different. So that's why this one's got so much more. Obviously, it's got a smaller. Honestly, I am special on a whole level. Right, I might as well just do the black on this one while I'm here. Right, so these off. And then I'm going to start cutting the other one out while the black dries. Now, where did I put my mask? How did it get over there? Found it. Now, see, I've been wearing rubber gloves and masks before they were fashionable. Well, in the high street, anyway. And this is the filter is a JSP Force P3RD, whatever that means. I'll put a little Basil on the front. Look. I'm going to paint something. 2 seconds, honestly. Always check for spiders is what I was going to get to. Nice to meet you too, Ian. I much prefer that. Someone go, get on with it, hurry up. I won't be. See, once I have this on, I won't be talking. So you're lucky. sound like I'm talking through a pair of old socks. Right. So always check for spiders, because it always gives you a weird tickle on your nose when you don't. There we are. Bit anticlimactic, really, isn't it? If you're prepared to sit through another one, I'll do the other one. But I'm sure I might lose some people now. What? Where are you from, Tom? Are you UK or abroad? Oh, USA, wicked. So what time is it where you are at the moment? It's now coming up to 11:05 on Monday night here. Oh, you have a point there, Colin. I can't read what you just said, so... Cool. Oh, someone from New York as well? Nice. So I'm in the UK. The United Kingdom. I use the bit of design mask. My last bottle has... I use the 32 ounce bottle, so that's a kilo. That hasn't lasted a month. So I go through quite a few of those. Well, Bitty Design is in the UK is, in my opinion, is the best one. Hello, Eddie. In the UK, I have to keep quoting saying that. I go to the local car, so it's Halfords, which is our local place, and I buy their clear lacquer, automotive clear lacquer, and that would fuel proof it, but it does add a ton of weight to the shell. So I suppose nitro, it's not really important as it is for electric. For electric, I don't put anything on it. As long as you've let the shell cure, as in like if you've left it for like a week or two, at least a week, and it doesn't smell of paint anymore, you're pretty sure it's cured. And when I race in the rain, I'd put it under a tap afterwards to clean it off. Morn, thank you very much for doing whatever you did. I much appreciate, and I'll talk to you soon, hopefully. Darius, I use washing up liquid and washing up sponges. They've got like a rough side and a smooth side, so they're only sponges, and you just want to key it. You want to key the shell, but just be careful keying up when you're doing the windows, because obviously the windows are still clear, and so you can key it up too well and make it all cloudy when you take the window masks off. So anywhere that's going to be clear, like the window frames, so the windows, don't be too aggressive with the cleaning. And then it's a case of just making sure you've got all the washing up liquid out of it, and it's nice and dry, and then you can hit it with some liquid mask. When I'm using my spray gun, which is just up here, I can't be asked to stretch for it, so I was going to move the camera. I've had to anyway. So that's got a 1mm tip in it. About 30 psi. I've got a 9-litre tank on my compressor, and let's just come off of it. That's good for about 2. I do 2 coats, like good thick coats, and then hair dry it between. Oh, that's cool. So I got a little bit of lacquer, some black paint on the window, a nice tint and hide to the microscope. Oh, that's a good idea, because it's, when it catches the light and you go, oh dear, it's got lots of little marks in it. It only really catches it when it's been used a bit, isn't it? And it's got a bit of gravel rash and just shows it up a bit clearer. Thank you very much. It's just trying to pass on knowledge that I've picked up. As I keep saying, there's probably better painters, better techniques. It's just what I seem to find that works for me. And when I first started, no one really answered messages. I mean, I don't think Facebook was really as strong as it is now. And so there wasn't really a demand for answering a geeky bloke some paint questions. Now it's developed a bit more now, isn't it? And you've got people like me streaming paint drying and people actually watching it. But I didn't actually do this. This isn't for any sort of personal gain. It's just because I thought it might help other people. Well, it isn't any personal gain. It might make me a little bit infamous, but nothing more than that. I paint here in the UK for a couple of fast UK drivers, and then I've got I'm started to pick up a couple of international drivers. The biggest being one of the biggest out there in all, which is Jan Rositzky, the German driver. And I've painted for Jan for about a year now. So I'm responsible for his weird hex on his front grille that he wants. He asked me, he went, "Can you put this on it?" I'm like, "Yes, I can." And he was so pleased. I was like, oh, "Okay." Customer's happy. His last painter didn't really do as his last painter sort of did what he wanted and didn't really give Jan much input. Whereas I let Jan do exactly as he pleases. And he's multiple ETS champion, isn't he? And F1 RC champion, and he goes all around the world, and he's taken my shells to all my paints, all parts of the world. Really quite cool to see where he takes my stuff to. And he's really nice as well. I don't know if you've had the pleasure of meeting Jan when he comes around doing his international stuff. But if you follow my Basil page, you can link on that to let you know when I'm painting. Also, I have a YouTube channel, and a new one for me now is Twitch, which is a new forum streaming service. Because with Facebook, you can only stream on 720p. I'm new to this streaming thing. I don't understand it, but I've just started doing this restream thing here, which is the top of the screen. And Facebook allows 720. YouTube and Twitch allow the slightly higher streaming, so I can do it in HD. So as much as that scares the what's-its out of me, you'll be able to see my stuff in HD, and apparently the sound's better, so you can hear me, and probably want to, but in theory you can hear me better. And if you could do me a solid and follow me on those, that would be useful, because I'm trying to get my numbers up. Well, it's practice. It's as patronising as that sounds. I don't actually look at where the blade is. I'm looking at where the blade's going, or finishing to. So I don't generally look at the actual blade. Yes, I've been growing my Facebook page for 8 years now, and I'm just into the 800s of likes, and I think followers I've got nearly 1,000. Yeah, that's how I started though, Darius. I was like, oh, can someone give me a body show and I'll paint it for material costs, and it just built from there. And now I don't make a lot of money, but I cover my costs and make a tiny bit. We've obviously got the electric to run this out here, and liquid mask and chrome, and paint orders are generally 100 quid a go when I order supplies. And I don't get any help from anyone. Not that I'm bleeding like or anything. I really should have. I'm cutting. I just realised I haven't got my glasses on. That's a bit silly. But that's how I started though. I painted for my friends at my local club, and they just gave me a show and let me get on with it, and I gave it back to them and said thank you very much, and they sort of suffered what I painted. And to start with, my work was pretty rubbish. Some would probably still say my work is still pretty rubbish. I enjoy it, and I cover my costs. I'm never going to be rich or anything from it, but I enjoy doing it. But I've been very lucky with the streaming I have done. Like the Facebook did an update, and the laptop I was using, it was too much for it. It was a really old laptop anyway, and so I said to everyone, I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I won't be able to stream anymore because my laptop's it's just had it." And somebody donated me a laptop, which was very kind. It's probably better than my work computer as well, to be fair. And then another friend of mine gave me an aircon unit to heat the shed, and also in the summer to cool it. So this will be my first summer with air conditioning, which will be a very odd experience. And I was given this light above here. Yeah, I wouldn't practice on. You need to practice on the actual, like with the brush and stuff. Oh God, I'm pressing. I didn't actually realise, right? This laptop is touchscreen until the other day. I was like, "What have I done? What have I done?" So I don't know what I just pressed then. Hide messages on the street. Yeah, that's it. I've done that. Sorry, I pressed the button. I was trying to go up on my finger and press the button. God, I'm so useless with it. Bloody. Yeah, so Colin's been helping me on the. Ah, see, Colin, you just come over to the Facebook. Sorry, because Colin normally talks on Twitch. So I was just about to relay the message and then realised that you'd actually messaged it on Facebook. So Colin's been helping me out with, because Colin's more used to doing the Twitch stuff. I haven't a clue on that. So he's been helping me on advising me what to do. I just find the whole thing a bit peculiar, really. I did have a look at Twitch, and it doesn't really. Well, I'm a 42-year-old, 41-year-old man, and I don't understand all that stuff. Thank you, Colin. You're my little PR, which is good. So that sounds patronising. You're helping me out. I appreciate it. Thank you. We put a link here and everything. Wicked. Just take. It was getting in the way when I was cutting. A good tip from me is take your time cutting. The cutting is the most important part of the paint job. You have to be super careful doing the lights and grills. You don't want to put too much pressure on, because obviously this is the bit that's the most vulnerable to attack. You just want to drag the blade over your pen marks. Trying to keep it as level. I just want to double check I did actually cut the bit there. I don't think I did. So I find half the time I ended up with the body shell like right against my chest and my elbow against my rib cage, and I'm sort of pivoting so I don't put too much pressure. So Colin, you're messaging me through Twitch. No one else can see these, so you can say exactly as you please, and I can't respond to them without everyone going, "What is he doing?" So the numbers have come down to a more realistic number now. So the Facebook's got 13 people watching, 12 because I'm talking too much now. What were you, Darius? What were you keying the shell with? Were you sponging and cleaning? And I know some people just take it straight out of the bag and attach the mask without any sort of prep. That gives me cold sweats. If you're prepared to spend, I don't know, 6 hours painting a shell, it's worth spending 20 minutes prepping it. I had somebody actually send me some shells pre-masked. He went, "Oh, can you do them cheaper because I've masked them?" I went, "Well, no, because I'm going to take the mask off and start again. I'm not doing this and not knowing who put the mask on, and I don't know if there's any fingerprints on it and all sorts." So I took it back to new, and then reapplied it. Because I just didn't want the paint falling off, because you can lose your name in seconds. All it takes is one bad comment, and that spreads way quicker than any nice positive stuff. It's like I've got a little art shop, and during this coronavirus thing, we shared a picture. We asked the locals to send in pictures of rainbows, because in the UK, the rainbow is the sign of that we've been using as like for hope, really. So we were getting people to send in artwork that they'd done, and we were sticking it on our front door. And after a few weeks, I posted a picture up of the door with all the rainbows on, and it got viewed like, I don't know, 2,000 or 3,000 times, and I was really proud of that. And then last week, someone smashed one of our big panes of glass in our front window, and so I put that on Facebook saying, unfortunately, we've been vandalised, and insurance is, we have to pay the first 300 quid. So I put it on Facebook saying, "Oh, the window's been broken, and we were a little bit upset, and did anyone see anything?" It got shared 25,000. Well, it didn't get shared, it got viewed 25,000 times. So a negative one got 25,000 views, a positive one got 2,000 or 4,000 views. So if you do bad work for somebody, or piss someone off, it gets around a lot more than positive stuff, which is sad. Yeah, I just used scratchy foam dishwasher pads, and just normal washing up liquid, detergent, whatever you call it. In the are you from the States? And then I just sit there. I calmly sort of make sure I go over everything a couple of times, so that it keys up nicely, and when it's all nice and bone dry, you want to be able to. It wants to be slightly matte finish, but not with like hundreds of thousands of scratch marks that you can see clearly. You just want to buff it up so that it keys. Obviously, they're not applying the paint that the. Oh, sorry, Darius. I thought you were like I thought you were like from the States or somewhere. I can't see thumbnails. I can just see names, because I'm not watching this on Facebook. I'm watching it through this restream thing, so I can't see profiles or anything like that. So I apologise. Yeah, I just use fairy liquid. Right, well, I'm not far off paint. Don't worry. Although I'm not rushing, so sorry. I'll always be back on tomorrow. If you like my Basil page, it gives you an alert when I go live. Or Twitch or YouTube. YouTube's quite good, because you don't then have to necessarily watch me live, and you can fast forward all my talking bollocks bits. And you can do that on Twitch. But you'll be able to do that in HD soon. I'm trying to sell this Twitch and YouTube thing. I will get better with it. But I do realise that the majority of the people watch on Facebook. Oh, I haven't done a Mazda Speed 6 in years. This is a DBX. I think I have got a Speed 6 somewhere in the shed. Have you heard of Elliot Harper, the UK driver? Because I paint for him, and I did a Speed 6 as my tester shell for him when he decided he wanted to use me for paint. I did a baby last night amongst I did a baby, Type S, and JP8 last night, and then these are two, DBXs. So dog's bollocks. They in the UK, the BRCA won't let us say dog's bollocks, so you have to say DBX. Well, I've got used to saying DBX, so I don't get myself into trouble, because they don't want it for obviously a kid's hobby and stuff, and they don't want people saying bollocks all the time. They don't want stickers on the car saying bollocks. So it's a bit of light-hearted humour, I know, but the BRCA were a little bit like, no, we won't have that. So actually, these are two DBXs, so you could actually say I'm working on a pair of bollocks. Sorry, that amused me. Send me a picture of your Psycho show if you've done it. Are you a member of the paint chat group, the American site? Because if it's on there, I would have seen it. very good group chat there with all the American painters and stuff, and you get to see some really good techniques on there. I've learnt a lot from that page. But most of my improvements is through cutting and not rushing. Everyone puts too much emphasis on the actual spraying side of it. If you can't cut a nice design out, that's cool. So I'm just doing a recap in my head so I can see where I've been. So I've just got this rear boot section to do, and lights, and this grille, checkered. It's trying to treat the knife as a pen, and it's just trying to get it to flow as nicely, and I found the best way to make it flow is with a new blade every time you use it on a new shelf, so it doesn't grab, and it's just something you'll learn, is the pressure to apply. Right, so now it's just these pinstripes on the rear here, and I can paint this one, and then we can move back onto the other ones, obviously, because it's had a good couple of minutes to dry. I think I've been reasonably quick, but I bet you'll all tell me the opposite. So this is obviously quite tricky to do, and the stress of being on live. I'm still at 14 though, that's still really good. I've got a lot to thank Morn for. I don't really understand why my page has had so many hits today. I mean, normally I would have like 14 would be like the highest number I have all day. So it hit 55 earlier. I nearly fell off the chair. I was lucky I'm not completely shy. The highest numbers I've had up to that was like 40 odd, and that's when Jan shared my page. You see, these are for a customer, so if I do shit work, I'm going to get into trouble as well. So there is a sort of, these aren't mine. If they were mine, I would probably be in a bit more, might have zipped through them a bit quicker. But there's no point showing you all shit work. It's a long time finished. That's what's going on my tombstone. Really? I didn't even know there was a T4 page. I wonder who shared that. So I don't actually share this in anything, so I'm quite shocked where it does actually turn up. I don't really think... I think half the time I just annoy everyone, so I just go live and see what happens. Right, so rear lights, and then we can start some paint again. Oh, yeah, I hear you all say. Well, probably not. And having really good backache as well, which is nice. Because this isn't a natural angle. I'd like to normally like lean on the table and sort of punch a little bit, but you're going to get my bald spot in shot, so I'm keeping out the way. Because I drew these this afternoon while I was sort of homeschooling my daughter, so that was great parenting by me. So she's doing maths homework and I'm drawing on the side of a body shell, so it was a great lesson there for my daughter to concentrate. Yeah, well, I've looked how much I've streamed in the last. I've been streaming on this restream thing here for a week now, and I think today is day 7, and I think I've streamed for 24 hours sitting on this chair. Hello, Steady. So that's my friend David. He's the one that installed my aircon unit. But it's the bitty design. It's actually, if you leave it long enough, it goes like a dull pink. But this, I literally only applied this a couple of hours ago, so it's still really curing. You see, look, it's got loads of dots in it. That should really be like, you can see down here in the corner. That's it really dry. So there, it's obviously it's easily workable, but it needs to be really that colour to. But I find it quite easy to work when it's cloudy. I did actually find by a happy mistake. I sprayed my liquid mask through my gun, and I'd mixed. I don't know why, but I put some water in it to thin it down a tiny bit, and I never do that normally. It was a bit lumpy, and the water had a bit of white paint in it, and so it made this like an off-white, and it made it really easy to see what I was doing. And to be honest, I don't know why I've never done it before. I've done it since. Right, so now we can put the. I think we can put the black on this one now. I'll just double check my cuts. Actually, the numbers have gone back up again. I'm up to 18 again. I don't understand this. I don't understand why it's jumped. Right, there's a little bit of pinstripe I've missed. So I've got to do the inside cut on that one.
soul brothers, soul sisters. Put your fists in the air, saying, yeah.
My pinstripe's a little bit rustic, so it does vary in dimensions. I'm not as neat as some of the painters. You see, their pinstripe is like exactly the same all the way round, and it's incredible. Well, eventually, Scott, it should look like that. That's the idea. Although this one's from a couple of years ago, the driver gave it back to me so I could use it as a sort of. He said, "Oh, I like the way you did this one. Can you kind of recreate it a couple of times over?" So that's what I always go back to that one, and then we just added a bit of check on the crown on the bonnet. Right. You want to say? He sent me a picture of this design. He was driving mod at the Huddy Arena, and he lost it going down the main straight. And he sent me a picture of it, and the back bumper was about here. He'd gone into the wall flat out in mod with a 4-turn motor in it, and the wing was popped up at a funny. If I can find the picture, I'll put it. It must be somewhere on my Facebook. It absolutely munched it, and it didn't damage it too badly. Popped it back out again, and the commentator, which is Scotty Ernest, he apparently gave him a compliment on how nice the paint was, or used to be. I am looking forward to the summer where I haven't got to use a bloody hairdryer. So you don't want to use too hard a heat when you're using a hairdryer on it, because it'll crack it. Or I don't know if it actually then stops it sticking to the shell as well, because I think it might shock it too much and it doesn't stick. So I try and do a soft heat. Right, what I can do now is I can start zigzagging between shells. But there's just a bit I wanted to sort out. It's a bit growly on one of the window frames. Wow, that's interesting, whoever just shared that. That's very kind of you, but I haven't really... Would that be considered my first spam? So I think I'm very honoured that I've been spammed. Dr. Azaka for using his herbal medicine to cure my arthritis. Oh, is it because I mentioned my back pain? Do you reckon that these little bots are listening and have... No, it'd be some spammer. It would just be posting crap on pages. I must have mentioned backache and they've obviously heard it. All right, so this pinstripe around the inside. I was going to do this. I'm having a bit of a think here because I like black window frames now. I think they look better. Good. Hopefully, that's the thing, Tom. Hopefully, this will get you wanting to do your own. So this one's got, I have a black inlay and then I've got a pinstripe on the inside, and I was thinking of doing it a luminous yellow. Ah, bollocks, I am going to do it a luminous yellow, so I'm going to leave that one. So I'm just thinking as I'm going along, sorry. So now in theory, it's a case of picking out all the pinstripes I've just cut. If I've cut them right. It does, but I throw all those in the bin. Sorry, I recycle them. That's what you're supposed to say, isn't it? There you go, look, that's one bit of pinstripe. Now I have a little competition with myself to see if I can pull the pinstripe off in one section without it breaking. Because there's some fun. Because you don't know pain until you've picked out pinstripe. This is where the good tweezers come in handy. So not in handy, they're essential really, because it allows you to pick the bit you actually want to pick up and it leaves everything else in place. If you saw with my roof when I was doing the checkered bit, I'm perplexed now as to that spammer with my... What else random words shall I say to see if I get one of them other spammers? What else shall I suggest? What random word can we bring into a conversation to see if bring up a spammer? I've never had that before. We're used to getting spam emails. I think we all are, aren't we? And they've gone up massively in recent times. With the fraud, now everyone's getting desperate, got no money, so they're trying to scam us all. Online shopping. So if I said, what could we possibly suggest? I don't understand how back pain got come up. I do think though that I'm not going to get this done tonight. Shock horror, because it's now. It's just gone midnight here. If I told you I would be back tomorrow night, would you tune in? The answer's probably not. But I'm sure some of you must be desperate to see it finished. There's still 15 of you watching, which I'm quite shocked about. I am using some absolutely lethal tweezers. You know, the kind that I've already made this joke once, but it was hilarious, so I'll do it again. I knocked them off the table a while ago, and they kind of went like that and stuck in my knee, and they were just twanging like something out of a cartoon. And it did make me swear a lot. Tweezers are very important. Okay, you spend a lot of time with a craft knife, but tweezers are just as important. Thank you, Colin, on Twitch. Yeah, I've got everything's there on YouTube. I don't know if Facebook actually saves it now, because I think I have to be under 4 hours for it to be saved on Facebook, whereas YouTube, it's all there. I'm not sure about Twitch, but YouTube's definitely the best place to watch all the videos back again. And hit that subscribe button is what they say, isn't it? I think. Yeah, say tweezers. See if that gets us another spammer. So then it's a case of where I've been picking out the pinstripe, just the little bit of the point will just pop out or bend. So it's just a case of going around now and just making sure that all the little points on the pinstripe are all going the same direction, if that makes sense. That sets my triggers off when I'm looking at a body shell afterwards and going, oh, I fucked it up. I've left it overnight because I forgot. It depends on what atmosphere you're leaving it, what temperature. This is just a shed in my world shed quarters. I actually made my shed because I wanted somewhere to paint and be able to leave stuff out, rather than just making a mess and having to spend all the time tidying it all away. Oh, you shared it again, you dick. I can't pronounce your first name, but that's just daft. I think we have our first person that's going to get blocked. I've made it. I've made it. I've got my first spammer. I haven't got my first stalk troll yet. Not that I actually want one, by the way. Just saying. Although secretly I do, because that means I'm famous in someone's eyes. Just a bit scary. I'll try and figure out how to politely tell Drew to Foxtrot Alpha. It is, and just as awkward. So I shouldn't laugh at my own misfortune. I'll tell you what, that was an awkward 3 hours. Oh, I could start all sorts of jokes now, and I'm not going to. Thank you, you made me laugh. At least somebody has tonight. Right, so that's the pinstripe done on that one. So I'll do the pinstripe on this one, then I haven't got to do it tomorrow evening. So it means at least when I go to bed now, I'm like, oh, I haven't got to do pinstripe. So Darius, where in the UK are you? And what class of RC car do you run normally? My class of choice is touring cars. Mostly doing 13.5 Blinky, and I did this winter, it was my first 17.5. I do the EWS series, and then I normally do the BRCA Clubman series in the summer, but we don't talk about summer racing at the moment because there isn't any. This is a nice tune. Because I have to be careful on Facebook because I get into all sorts of trouble with the copyrights. Get a nice warning email. I'll be on stream for like 4 hours, and they'll be like, at 2 hours 55 minutes, you played 55 seconds of so and so owned by Sony so and so, and you'll be banned if you do it again. The worst one is I started playing some disco house, and I got really into it and turned it up a little bit too loud, and I actually got a flashy warning on the screen saying, turn it off or we'll turn you off. Which was a little bit annoying because I was mid-funk. I've been racing, if you can call it that, for 8 years. See, I'm down in the southeast, so I suppose it's what clubs near you, isn't it, and what's popular. Like, I tried buggy, and I can't get used to the jumpy bits. Yeah, you get a red banner comes up across the top of your live feed saying, turn this off or we'll turn you off. And then you get a nice email saying what you've done wrong and how many countries you've been banned in. And if you own the music, you can argue with them. Otherwise, you have to agree to them muting the section that you played someone's music for. So I'm sure it does everyone a favour and mutes me off for a little bit, but I'm a peacock, I just need to be able to fly. I can't believe there's still 17 people watching. This is more than I've had in months. Then last night at midnight I had 4. And one of them was me. Because they've got all your email addresses, so they just send you these things saying you have been playing this music. So I'll just turn that over. That's my, and on YouTube it's my mate's drone. It's making a terrible noise. Sounded broken. Right, this is a Solomon set. Everyone knows the DJ. So I will more than likely be online tomorrow night to finish this off. Now, see, Darius, I started racing just before my daughter was born. I needed a hobby outside of the pub. So, and I spent years and years go-karting, and so RC racing seemed quite logical. One of my mates started doing it, and so I followed him. And I thought, oh, that'll easily transfer over, and I'll be all right at this. How wrong I was. Terrible at it. And I still am terrible at it. But you see, because I started racing when I was like, what, 32? So in theory, these have already gone. And I've got these. So, yeah, I'm all right. I can hold my own, and I can race. Although I've been very kindly, my pace improved massively when I got donated a new car. So So it's been set up properly by Jimmy Madison, so that kind of actually goes around the track where it's supposed to. So there is an awful lot in just getting the mechanical side of it right, because it just makes it easier to drive. So I've learnt a lot in the last couple of months. So if you follow my Basil page, it allows you to get alerts for when I go live next, or you could do me all a real solid and follow me on YouTube and Twitch, because apparently I didn't even know this, on Twitch, if I get enough followers, I get this weird sponsorship thing from them that doesn't cost anybody anything. You just click a button and I get a £5 donation a month. But I have to hit such stupid numbers, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it'd be pretty... I can see how they get a lot of people streaming, because they think they're going to make tons of money. I'm just here because I thought it'd be interesting to share what I've learned. Obviously there's a lot of unemployed people at the moment, so you do wonder why some people are actually trying to make ends meet. I did watch a couple of Twitch streams today, and I kind of realised I need a boob job if I want to be popular. I'm very impressed with what I saw. I mean, I only watched her for about 4 hours. She was actually painting her boobs, which I was completely perplexed with. So if people could find me on Twitch, I'm called Basil _Airbrush, and then on Facebook I'm just Basil Airbrush. But if people could follow me, that would be helpful. I think it's subscribe and follow, isn't it? They say press the button to get the dings and stuff like that. I don't know. It'd be pretty cool if you do. There's no ulterior motive. Yeah, it was pretty interesting, I must admit. I mean, I put her on mute. No, I'm joking. I only watched it for a couple of minutes. Then my wife walked in the room and I turned it off pretty quick. There's someone just doing art, but they're just using the medium of their boobies. I will not be doing that. So no one get their hopes up. But I've eaten a lot of chocolate lately, and I am a little bit unpacking a little bit. Right. So now we have to change the subject very, very quickly. This is called pearl copper. So basically, it's like well, I think it looks like gold. Now with these pearl colours, they've been sitting for a long time, so they need a lot of shaking, to get them all the good bit of the pearl is at the bottom. I really appreciate all of you lot still hanging around. I mean, there's 17 watching now, so thank you. It means a lot. That sounded really gay. Sorry. I don't know what pressure it is. My regulator's broken, so it is what it. 5 than 20 and lower than 40, I guess. I don't look at the PSI. Never have done. I'm actually spraying this quite hard because I want it to, because the pearl colour sometimes is gets a bit sticky, so I'm trying to give it some welly. If you think about it though, nobody really uses gold for pinstripe. I bet most people would say, chrome, straight away chrome, I'm not going to use anything else. So it's actually quite cool that this dude likes a different colour. And it makes it way easier to show you what it looks like, because it comes up straight away. So that's that section here. So yeah, I think that the PSI is unique to the gun because it's the size of the needle you run. It's if you finished your paints. Did you have any Weetabix for breakfast? There are a joke. There are a lot of variables. Are you spraying 5-year-old paint that's really lumpy? Because you're too tight to go buy any more, because obviously I don't use much gold. I go through tons of chrome, but hardly any gold. So a bottle of gold will last me donkeys. £35 plus shell. And then that's not including post. I think these videos are a very good way of, because I get asked a lot of questions. It's just easy now just to go, oh, if you go look on my video, you can see everything you're talking about. I just can't remember which video or what part of the 4 hours, but it's there somewhere. But this stuff's the absolute opposite to the chrome I use, because the chrome I use is so thin, I have to build it up in coats and then hit it with a hairdryer. Whereas this stuff is coming out like tar. So my brush is really struggling to clear it through. Did you see that? I multitasked. I held and I hairbrush at the same time. Woo! That looks really good in this light. I wonder if my spammer will come back. Oh, my backache. Oh, it's really starting to sting again. I do to lie down actually, which is lucky because it's bedtime. Now the black gives the the gold a much better depth. No, I thought that was him then, or her. I can't see if it's a male or female on the screen speaker. She said, "Oh, my piles!" Maybe I shouldn't have said that. Right, so that a little bit of black paint behind it should make the gold pop. Gold! Love gold! So I promise I won't start going into doing impressions, because that's just going to be toe curling, sorry. They're not even very good. It gives a really nice this pearl gold, or copper, whatever they want to call it. I think it looks gold. Gives it a really nice depth. It probably doesn't look too different on camera. You see, actually, this is the hard bit done now. Yay! Because obviously the drawing, the cutting, the pinstripe, and then the painting of the pinstripe everything else is fairly quick. Well, apart from the lights and grills, that takes me a little bit of time. I was told you're not a proper painter. I'll take my mask off so I can be more audible. I was told you're not a proper painter. This was told by one of the fast drivers at my old club, which is now shut. You're not a proper painter unless you paint lights and grills. You see a couple of these painters blogging stuff at the moment on Facebook, and they're using the kit stickers. Well, when I eventually get to lights and grills, that's at least an hour on each shell, or half an hour on each shell. And I've got that process pretty nailed now. That used to take me ages. So tomorrow night I will show you all how to do my lights and grills, and hopefully finish these. So if you can do all the social things like and subscribe and stuff, I would appreciate massively. And then you'll get the alerts to when I'm back on. But UK. Oh, hang on. What do you mean you like the kit stickers? Wash your mouth out. Right. Here's a set I did. I did these the other day. That's all paint. They've still got the overspray on, so they're still masking. There's still permanent marker lines on it and stuff. But you get the idea. And this driver is Jimmy Madison, and he likes the lights and grills to be. He wants a bit of colour on his shells, and he's the only one that I will put colour on. Everyone else gets black and white. Jimmy's like a personal sponsor of mine now, so he gets special. And if you help me out, you'll get special, like Haribo's and stuff. So you see some of these painters, and they're doing £60 paint jobs, and they're selling it with the kit stickers on it. And you're like, what? Really? That's not a paint job. That's you ripping somebody off. There's an art, if there is such a thing in these things, in just doing the proper lights and grills. Right, so that's as far as I'm going to get with those two tonight, because it's now 20 to 1. And I've got a bit of work at 8. So I really appreciate the numbers I've got on tonight. I mean, I know some of them are bots and stuff, but it's humbling and slightly nerve-wracking, because I've never spoken to this many people at once. Well, not on a computer anyway. It was at school when I did like stuff when I was like 12. But anyway, so UK time here at the moment is 20 to 1. I will aim to be back on British Standard Time at about 8:30. That's cool. Darius, is personal taste is a lot about this hobby, because it is a lot of it is subjective. Art is what you make it, and that's why it'll either people will like it or they won't. And the people that like it will tell you occasionally. The people that really don't like it will tell you a lot. So thank you very much for watching. Like, subscribe. No. And I'll be back on hopefully tomorrow night about 8:30 UK time in the evening. So nice to meet you too, Darius. Make sure you like my page and stuff, and we can talk and stuff. Thank you very much. So good night, good morning, good evening, and thank you. Appreciate it.